WWE just let a man put a curse on Ishowspeed live, on Raw, backstage, and nobody said a word. Not management. Not security. Not Adam Pearce. Nobody. And Speed? Speed had absolutely no idea what just happened to him. That right there should make every single one of you furious, confused, and glued to this screen, because what went down in that hallway is either the most brilliantly chaotic thing WWE has done in years, or it's the beginning of something nobody in that company is prepared for. Either way, buckle up, because we are going all the way in on this. Segment 1: Setting the Scene. Let's rewind. Ishowspeed, one of the biggest content creators on planet Earth, a man with over 35 million YouTube subscribers, a guy who's already shown the world he can hang with top-tier athletes and celebrities, walks through the backstage corridors of Monday Night Raw. He's electric. The crowd outside is going insane just knowing he's there. WWE's social media team is locked in. This is a PR goldmine for them, and everyone knows it. Speed is doing what Speed does, being loud, being charismatic, being absolutely unhinged in the best way possible, and then it happens. Danhausen appears. Now, for those of you who don't follow wrestling closely, let me paint you a picture. Danhausen is not a normal human being, or at least, he doesn't present like one. He's a character who operates on a completely different frequency from everyone else in professional wrestling. He's very nice, very evil, and completely, utterly, delightfully unhinged. He carries a jar of teeth. He speaks in third person. He curses people. And not in the way your uncle curses at football games. We're talking about legitimate, kayfabe, storyline curses. Dark magic, ancient evil, the whole 9 yards. Danhausen puts curses on people and bad things happen to them. That is his character. That is his brand. That is what he does. And on this night, on Monday Night Raw, backstage, Danhausen walked up to Ishowspeed and cursed him. Just like that. No build. No warning. No explanation. The curse was placed. Danhausen walked away. And Speed stood there with the most genuinely confused look on his face you have ever seen in your life. He didn't know whether to laugh, to run, to call his mom, or to film a reaction video about it right there on the spot. Segment 2: Speed's reaction and why it matters. Here's the thing that makes this moment so incredibly electric, and why it's spreading across the internet like wildfire. Ishowspeed is not a scripted performer. He doesn't have talking points. He doesn't have a character to fall back on. When Danhausen walked up to him and delivered that curse, Speed's reaction was real. The bewilderment was real. The "what did this man just say to me" energy was real. And that authenticity? That's gold. That's the kind of thing you literally cannot manufacture. Speed's entire brand is built on genuine, unfiltered reactions. When he watches a scary movie, you feel scared with him. When he plays a game and something goes wrong, you feel that panic in your chest. When he meets a football legend, you feel that excitement radiating off the screen. So when Danhausen walks up and puts an ancient curse on him and Speed is left standing there looking like his whole worldview just cracked, you feel that moment. It's real. It lands. And now Speed is walking around with a curse on him and he doesn't even fully understand what that means. Think about what that does for content. Think about every single time something goes slightly wrong for Ishowspeed from this point forward. Every stumble. Every bad day. Every technical difficulty during a stream. His fans, and now potentially wrestling fans too, are going to be pointing at that moment going, it's the curse. Danhausen did this. The man is carrying a kayfabe hex and he doesn't even know it. That is storytelling genius, whether it was planned or not. Segment 3: Where was Adam Pearce? Now here's where it gets interesting. Here's where I need you to pay close attention, because this is the part that should have everybody in the wrestling community raising an eyebrow. Adam Pearce said nothing. Zero. Crickets. Radio silence. For those who need the context, Adam Pearce is WWE's on-screen authority figure on Raw. He's the man in the suit, the general manager, the guy who's supposed to have control of the show. If something weird is happening backstage, Pearce is theoretically the person who steps in, addresses it, and restores order. He did none of that. Now, you could look at this one of two ways. Option A: it was simply a fun, spontaneous celebrity cameo moment. Speed came in, Danhausen did his thing, and no one felt like it needed official acknowledgement on television. It was just a backstage bit of business that fans caught on camera, something WWE does occasionally to build buzz online rather than on-screen. Under this reading, Pearce's silence means nothing, because there was never supposed to be an on-air response to begin with. Fine. That's a reasonable take. But option B is way more interesting. Option B says that Pearce's silence is intentional, that it is a storytelling choice. Because think about it, if Danhausen walks up to a massive celebrity guest and places a curse on him and WWE's authority figure doesn't address it, doesn't protect the guest, doesn't investigate, doesn't so much as raise a concerned eyebrow, what does that say? It says that within the world of WWE, the curse is either not being taken seriously, or it's being deliberately ignored. And historically, in wrestling storytelling, the things authority figures ignore have a nasty habit of coming back to bite everybody. Danhausen has been cursing people for years, and now he's put one on arguably the most viral human being on the internet right now. If WWE is smart, and they have been smart about celebrity integrations recently, they don't let this die. They let it breathe. They let the internet do its thing. They let Speed mention it on a stream or in a video. And then, slowly, they start making things go wrong. Little things at first, then bigger things. Until eventually Ishowspeed himself is standing in a WWE arena demanding answers from Danhausen, and the internet absolutely loses its collective mind. Segment for the bigger picture, WWE and celebrity crossover. Let's zoom out for a second, because this moment exists in a larger context that I think is really important. WWE has been on an absolute tear with celebrity integrations. Logan Paul is a main event player. Bad Bunny trained and had legitimate matches. Pat McAfee transitioned from commentator to beloved character. Machine Gun Kelly, Post Malone, various athletes. The company has been opening its doors wider and wider to people from outside the traditional wrestling world. And it's working. It's getting new eyes on the product. It's generating clips that go viral on platforms that don't traditionally talk about wrestling. It's getting wrestling discussed in spaces where it wouldn't otherwise come up. Ishowspeed is a different tier of celebrity integration though. He's not a musician with a built-in adult fan base. He's not an NFL star. He's a content creator whose primary audience is young. We're talking teenagers and early 20-somethings who are living on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. These are people who may never have watched Monday Night Raw in their lives, but they follow Speed. They watch everything Speed does. And when Speed gets cursed by a man who looks like he escaped from a Tim Burton movie, they're going to go look up Danhausen. They're going to look up WWE. Some of them are going to start watching. That's the pipeline. That's the long game. And if WWE executes it correctly, what started as a fun backstage but could be the beginning of a legitimate on-screen rivalry, a special appearance, a WrestleMania moment, and a whole wave of new fans who only tuned in because their favorite streamer got hexed by a man with a jar of teeth. Segment 5. What happens next? Alright, so where does this go from here? Let's break down the possibilities. First possibility: this is a one-time thing. Speed was a guest, Danhausen being Danhausen did what he does, and everyone moves on. No follow-up. No storyline. Just a funny moment that lives forever on social media. And honestly, even in this scenario, it's still a win for everybody. Speed gets a hilarious clip. Danhausen gets mainstream exposure. WWE gets talked about online. Everyone walks away happy. Second possibility: WWE leans in slowly. They acknowledge the curse on social media. Maybe Danhausen posts something cryptic. Maybe WWE's official accounts start tagging Speed with ominous messages every time something goes wrong in his life. Build it organically through digital content, let the audience connect the dots, and keep both fan bases engaged without committing to anything on television yet. Third possibility, and this is the one I want, and I suspect most of you want too: WWE books this. They actually commit to it. Speed comes back. Maybe he's doing a multi-episode appearance. Maybe there's a match somewhere down the line where the curse plays into the finish. Maybe Danhausen becomes his unlikely villain. Maybe Speed tries to get the curse lifted and that becomes the whole arc. Think about what that looks like on television. Think about what that does for ratings. Think about the YouTube content, the crossover content, the clips that would break the internet 3 times over. The ceiling on this is enormous if WWE has the nerve to go for it. Segment 6. The question you need to answer in the comments. Here's what I need from you right now. Seriously, don't just watch this and scroll away. I want to know what you think. Do you believe Danhausen cursing Ishowspeed was a completely spontaneous moment of chaos, or do you believe this is the beginning of something WWE has been quietly planning? Because if this is planned, if there's a creative team sitting in Stamford, Connecticut right now mapping out how Speed enters this world more permanently, then we are on the ground floor of one of the most unique celebrity stories WWE has told in a long time. And if it was spontaneous, then it's even more incredible, because it means Danhausen is so committed to his character, so locked in at all times, that even a chance encounter with the most chaotic content creator on the internet became a perfect piece of wrestling theater. Drop your take in the comments. I genuinely want to read every single one of them. And if you think I'm sleeping on any angle here, if you think there's a layer to this I haven't dug into yet, call me out. That's what this channel is for. Closing direct address. Look, at the end of the day, this is why wrestling is unlike anything else in entertainment. You can have a scripted main event that's been in production for months, and then a man with a jar of teeth wanders up to a YouTube legend in a hallway and creates a moment that nobody planned and everybody's talking about. Danhausen cursed Ishowspeed on Raw Backstage. Speed has no idea what it means. Adam Pearce said nothing, and now the whole internet is asking questions that only WWE can answer. The curse has been placed. What happens next is up to them. If you're new here, welcome to Ring Rumble 1. Subscribe if you want to be in the room when these conversations happen. Share this video with someone who doesn't watch wrestling but follows Speed because honestly, this might be their entry point into the greatest show.